right, hello everyone. I'm Brent Buchanan, and this is There's Always a Song. Thank you so kindly for tuning in. And as we do every show, we always have a song. And my special guest on this episode is a singer, songwriter, traveling musician, studio owner, and actor, right?
Yeah.
Colin Fowlie is our guest for this episode of There's Always a Song. Welcome to the studio.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate you.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure having you in.
It's great to be here.
We're recording this at the tail end of summer 2025, and how was your summer?
It's been good. You know, there's been just a solid balance of playing some shows, playing some festivals. I like to spend a lot of time with family in the summer. You know, the kids are home from school, and so it's been great. And
How old are the kids?
14 and 17.
And they still want to hang out with you?
I know, right? I'm doing something right or something very, very wrong.
I've got a 14-year-old, and it's just we see him once a week when he comes upstairs from his room.
Yep.
But and he's a musician. He's learning to play bass.
Okay, that is a noble pursuit.
Yeah.
The world needs more good bass players.
And he loves it.
Which
is awesome. And he heads into high school this year, first year of high school, so he's hoping to start his own band.
Where's he going to high school?
Leo Hayes.
Okay,
yeah. For any kids out there that are tuning in, what's it like to start your own band, your first band? Were you a part of a garage band growing up when you were younger?
I was in high school. So Nirvana and Pearl Jam were kind of my high school years, and that inspired me to grow my hair long and be in a band.
Yeah.
And had a band, won a battle of the bands, did a little bit of recording at in Sussex, and you know it's a challenge.
It's a challenge, but it's probably fun when you're 14 or 15 years old.
It is fun. Like we had a blast with it. You know, we weren't the best musicians. The guitar players in the band knew how to really shred, but there was no sense of dynamics and playing tastefully or anything like that. We just wanted to
move
go
out of the way. It's my
and
turn to play.
Let's make some noise and just have a blast with it, and we did.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm hoping he meets some new people in high school, and I'm hoping that he starts his own band because he loves it. He's into the System of a Down is his big is his favorite band right now. So so he's into that stuff.
Yeah. Well, listen. Let me know if he needs any pointers or any mentorship on the whole starting a band thing.
Okay.
Absolutely. I love helping young folks out in the community who have questions, and people do reach out to me all the time, and I try and make time for them because I want to see live music kept alive.
Yeah, totally.
In a world where people are taking things online more, like we have AI generated music that's I wouldn't call it all the rage, but it has people raging right now.
And AI written music too.
Yeah, I know.
Like you can have AI write your music, and then you can have AI put the music behind it.
Yep.
And then that.
I don't know, man. And the technology's gotten really good, but I think that's it's not for the best. And I encourage not just young people. Like I've actually recorded bands that started playing in their 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Getting together and making noise with your friends with no expectation of fame or success, just to have fun. It's just, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
And I still get together with my band, when maybe we don't have a gig on the horizon or whatnot, just because we miss playing together.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's fantastic, and I encourage anyone to give it a try. Yeah. Even if you're thinking about it even just a little bit, go for it.
Go for it. And instruments, what do you play?
So I play, my primary instrument these days is the guitar, acoustic, electric. I play a bit of lap steel guitar.
Wow.
I'm hoping to branch into full-blown pedal steel when the budget allows, but those suckers are expensive.
So the lap steel would be sort of like a dobro, maybe?
Yeah, so it sits in your lap like a dobro.
Yeah.
I have mine equipped with benders, so I can kind of fake pedal steel stuff. And so people have listened to some of my productions with the lap steel. They're like, "Oh, who's the pedal steel player on that?" I'm like, "I fooled you."
Yeah, exactly.
The purists know, but I have a lot of fun with that, and it's a really intuitive instrument. I'm not a bass player, but I can fake it in the studio. That's why I don't charge people by the hour. It's like by the project. Might take me 6 hours to nail the bass part, but I can get it. And I play piano, and
Wow.
I used to play wind instruments when I was younger, although I haven't picked one up in decades.
And the first instrument you learned was
Piano.
Piano. Okay.
Yeah, my parents got me into piano lessons pretty young. I forget how old I was, but it was like elementary school, like 5 or 6 years old. And they got an old piano out of I think the basement of a church. If my mom watches this, she'll be like, no, that's not how it happened. But I think it was like an old piano out of the basement of a church somewhere around like Mill Cove, Coles Island, something like that. And I now have that piano in my basement in the studio. It desperately needs to be tuned, but that was the first thing I learned on.
Yeah.
And at the time, they got me into some singing lessons and whatnot, and which I'm very grateful for now. At the time, I was like, this is lame, but it served me all right.
They planted a seed.
They did, right? And then kind of in parallel, because that, piano, that was like studying classical music, Royal Conservatory of Canada. Here's how to read sheet music. Here's how all that stuff that I barely, the knowledge I use, like, harmony and whatnot, I still use that to this day, but, I don't typically read sheet music anymore. Like when you're doing Western popular music, you'll see like the Nashville number system, like the entire songs can fit on the back of a napkin.
Yeah.
So I use that a lot, but, I learned the piano, but then in parallel, my grandmother, the old homestead was in like Long Creek, which was handy to Coles Island. And there was an old farmhouse guitar there that had like the action jacked up on it, 5 strings. And if I learned a few basic chords that my grandmother showed me, then I could play her guitar.
Okay.
And so that was like the treat when I was allowed to play her guitar, which I actually still have to this day.
Wow.
And now that I know more about guitars and whatnot, I realize that her guitar was a lot better than the one in the corner, but that one still is like, I don't know how she was playing it. It's a difficult instrument. And so that was, I was still single digits years old when I started on hers. Yeah. I got my own guitar, I think, when I was 14 years old or something like that, and I've been playing ever since.
Good. My son's taking lessons from Tony Scott. Do you know Tony?
I know of Tony.
Yeah. And he's learning to read music, and I think that's important to learn to read music when you first start out.
You need to have some fundamentals. Yeah. I think that it's important to, when you're first starting your journey, to kind of cast a wide net.
Yeah.
And find the things that excite you and that inspire you, and then to kind of chase after those.
Yeah.
But you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so learning some of those fundamentals, even just how to read basic music, like when both of my kids were younger, I put them in piano lessons, and the deal was, you don't have to stick with it, but I want you to stay in it until you're able to read music and play piano with both hands at the same time.
Right.
Once you've accomplished that, you can decide whether you want to continue. Yeah. But that's just, it's like learning the basics of another language, and that is going to enable you in the future to, explore whatever it is that excites you musically.
And you see Elton John and Billy Joel on the piano just jamming away, and that's
absolutely.
pretty cool. That's
absolutely. Awesome. Although, for those that perhaps find reading sheet music difficult, like as I said, I don't use it that much anymore. There's many different ways to learn music. So, if you're working with a teacher and the way that they're teaching doesn't resonate with you, there probably is another teacher who has a different way of approaching it and a different way of explaining it that can help you learn. Like I don't teach a lot of guitar anymore. During the pandemic, it really helped me pay the bills.
I bet, yeah.
But, I did work with a lot of older guitar students that, their goals did not align with the way that they were being taught, and I was just kind of able to pivot and explain things in a different way. So, being flexible as a teacher is important, but, understand that as a student of music, there's so many different ways that you can tackle these things. And if one person is teaching it one way and they're rigid about it, that's not the only way.
That's not the only way. East and Nowhere Songsmith Studio and Artist Services, and this is you mentoring new and upcoming artists?
Yeah, like it kind of one of those things that was sort of born out of the pandemic as well, where I leveled up my skills in the studio from just making my own rough demos to being able to create stuff that was polished enough to put out into the world. And so it's in my home. My overhead is low, so I'm able to bring in, independent artists that are, in many cases, it's their very first recording experience, right?
And they probably nervous.
They're nervous. They don't have a lot of money behind them.
Yeah.
They save up their money from playing the bar gigs and whatnot to be able to record something, and so I try and keep it affordable for them and work within any budget.
Yeah.
And I can be a one-stop where I play all these instruments, right? Okay,
Yeah.
I can play everything,
Yeah.
and it's sort of all inclusive.
Yeah.
But I've done some larger productions where we have sent out to session musicians. Like I've worked with some CCMA award-winning musicians who have shipped stuff to me in order to add to these productions. Like you may have heard a track by Ella Campbell. It was her first track called Roller Coaster.
Yes, yes.
And
I had her on the show.
fun fact, the drummer on that track is a guy by the name of Jeff Dalziel, who's an award-winning country music producer out of Ontario that I've become friends with over the past few years. So, it's one of the things that the pandemic did was it got a lot of us more comfortable with the idea of collaborating remotely.
Yeah.
So now you can assemble a world-class band to play on a record and never get in the same room
And
together.
never meet them.
And it's not the same thing. Like I love being able to create face-to-face.
Yeah.
But failing that, like my last record that came out during 2021, it was produced by a guy by the name of Ariel Posen. I actually went out to Winnipeg to do some of the work, but we got Hammond B3 played on it by a guy who was in Minneapolis, and then a Nashville guy to play the pedal steel on it. And so, it's technology has kind of enabled us to reach people, and geography isn't a limitation anymore. And we don't have to rent a studio for a week and everyone get together.
Yeah.
We can do things. We can do things that sound way more expensive than they are.
During the pandemic, there'd be bands, and I found this unbelievable. The guitar player would be up in one square, and the bass player in another, and the drummer and the lead singer, and they would all come together, and it all sounded like they were in the same room, but it was they were all at their own home, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, exactly. And I made a few of those when I didn't have friends, where it was just me in that corner and then me in that corner. And then
Just doing a different instrument.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm bored. I can't leave the house. I'm going to go down and play 5 different instruments on this.
Yeah. Show off.
Well,
the Fredericton music scene is a vibrant music scene.
Yeah, it really is.
And you've been across the country.
Yeah, I have.
You've seen other music scenes, and I'm sure every city and every province probably says the same thing. But I think Fredericton and surrounding area is really, and it seems to get better and better and better every year.
Yeah, there is a lot of talent here, and I think that there have definitely been some institutions that have stayed up and running for a long time, like the Capitol, and to the point where at one point there was like a documentary series by a local filmmaker about the Capitol called The Capitol Project, and there's just been so many different bands that have come out of that, and these incredible creative projects, and it's definitely taken a hit since COVID, and attendance at live shows has kind of dipped down, and but there are folks that are working really hard to keep it alive. Like somebody I work very closely with, the logo on my hat, Roots and Soul Music Promotions. Everyone in Fredericton kind of knows of like the big festival like Harvest and Shivering Songs and whatnot. But to kick off every festival season in June, there is the Living Roots Music Festival, and it's a low overhead thing where a lot of the venues volunteer their spaces, and the artists travel in from all over the country, so from the U.S. and whatnot as well, to put on this amazing festival. And through that, we kind of build community.
Right.
And I've made some lifelong friends at that festival. If you find people that you resonate with, then when you're touring as an indie troubadour, if you will, you might play to a packed house. You might make a couple of grand one night, and then you might be playing for for tips and a meal at the next city. And that has literally happened to me on these tours, right? And so it really helps to have a support network where you can have a place to stay with friends that you're comfortable with.
Even that support network can help you promote, hey, Colin's coming to town on such
Absolutely.
and such a date.
They're going to reach out to their folks. Maybe they'll hop on and open the show for you. Like that's, we're all kind of pulling for each other. And there's very little competition in that regard, where, there's enough pie for all of us.
Yeah.
And we just really want to help each other out.
I remember the old Chestnut days in Fredericton a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've spent some time in the Chestnut.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun back then.
It was.
But I think Fredericton could use another music venue, like another smaller music venue. Nothing against the Capitol. I've seen some shows at the Capitol, but I think I'm more of a country guy.
Yep, absolutely. I would like to see a venue that kind of fits in between, like a permanent venue that fits in between like the Capitol, which is like a 100-cap sort of room, and the Playhouse, right?
Yeah.
Like shows happen at the Wilmot United Church, for example, but that's not necessarily a dedicated music venue.
Yeah. Someone that's a venue that seats 300.
Yep.
250, 300.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we could definitely use and build. And it's funny, like the music that I make today fits under the country music umbrella.
Yeah.
It would be more sort of on the alt country side of things. I like my music. Well, I mean, my listening diet is very, very diverse, right? But I tend to like my music a little bit rougher around the edges.
Yeah.
I don't mind electronic music. Like I actually listen to electronic dance music sometimes with no lyrics, just as a way to kind of zone out. But I tend to like my country music a little bit more, rough around the edges.
Yeah. Cody Jinks.
Like
Tyler Childers, stuff
absolutely.
like that.
Ian Noe. If you haven't listened to Ian Noe, that you should.
Really?
Noe. He's unbelievable. I'm a big fan of Jason Isbell and the 400 unit, Sturgill Simpson, Morgan Wade, that kind of stuff, right? And it's amazing, but you can tell it's like real musicians playing real instruments, and in a way that's collaborative and creative, and it's just greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm into primarily, and that's kind of the music that I strive to make.
Acting. Now you're an actor as well.
Kind of. Award-winning actor.
Award-winning actor. Best Supporting Actor Award at the Silver Wave Film Fest. What's that like? You're obviously a creative guy.
I love doing that stuff. So the acting thing happened because, I think that part of being a musician, like you can choose to just kind of stay in the background, be a songwriter, be a session player, whatnot. I love getting up and performing my own songs. And there is a component of that if you want to excel at that, you kind of have to invent a character for yourself to step out on stage and do that. Yeah. Because if it was just me being Colin, like I guess I'm kind of in character right now, because I would just sit there and like chew my face and sit in the corner and not say anything.
A good example of that would be Waylon Napadogan.
Yes.
He's created a character.
I love that guy.
Oh, I love it. We were talking before we went on the air about the small little festival out in Minto for the second year. It's the Trails Folk Festival.
Yep.
And Waylon Napadogan and his band were on stage, and they did a Highwaymen tribute. And then at the end,
amazing!
Yeah, it was wicked. And then at the end of the show, Waylon did a few of his original songs.
Yep.
Which, if you've never seen any of his original stuff, go on YouTube and check them out.
They're entertaining. They're they'll make you laugh. They'll bring you joy.
Exactly.
And I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
But anyway, like a friend reached out because there was a local filmmaker trying to cast for a short film that she was putting together, Rebecca Tremblay being the filmmaker. And it was my buddy Stephen Lewis said, I can't do it, but she was looking for like a bearded, clueless dad type. So I did like a self-filmed audition.
I can do that.
I was born for this moment. And so I sent in a tape, and I hadn't done any acting since like doing theater in high school.
Right.
And I sent in the tape, and I got the part, and we went and filmed. It was like a one-day shoot after doing some prep work. And I honestly, I didn't forget that I had done it, but I forgot about it as a thing, right? Because I was back to doing my music, and I'm laying in bed watching, British murder mysteries with my wife one night, and my phone starts to blow up. Like, congratulations, Colin. For what?
What?
And they're like, you just won Best Supporting Actor at the Silver Wave Film Festival. And I mean, my first response was an expletive, like, you're messing with me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, then they send me a photo, and I'm like, that's amazing. But like I've been nominated for a bunch of music awards, but I haven't won. So it's like I did one thing with acting, didn't go to the festival because I think I had been playing a show that weekend, and it was like I have like 6 hours to chill at home, so that's what I did. But now, You know, it comes up in discussions around the house where I'm losing an argument. I'll be like, do you know who you're talking
Yeah,
to?
exactly.
I'm an award-winning actor. But a friend of mine by the name of Tony Lepage, who's,
Yes,
you know,
yeah.
you probably recognize that name, built a career for himself on Broadway. And he's moved back in recent years and started a company. So they reached out to see if I was interested in auditioning for their production of the show Rock of Ages.
Okay.
And so I was in that at the Playhouse
Yes, with Brad
last
Kane.
fall, and again this with Brad Kane.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I just love being around creative people,
Yeah.
and I love learning from different disciplines.
Yeah.
All of that feeds into making me a better singer-songwriter, alt-country troubadour.
Yeah. It's contagious.
It is,
Yeah.
and you know, I'm just grateful for all these opportunities that I've had and the people that I've met in the process. Like, you know, I'm not getting rich, but
You're having
my
fun.
life is very rich. You know.
You're having fun.
Yep.
I'm grateful for you to be on the show.
I appreciate you,
We
Brent.
are going to go to break, and we're going to hear a song,
Okay.
an original song. Tell us about the name of the song and really quick, what's the song is about.
So I'm going to play a tune called Song in Every Moment.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fitting for this show. It's unreleased. It's going to be the title track of the album I'm working on. I co-wrote it with my friend Lynn Hanson in Ottawa. She's another, you know, troubadour that's traveled coast to coast, and it's a song. It started out as like a factual account of my grandmother teaching me how to play the guitar.
Oh, cool.
But when I brought Lynn into the equation, she's like, no, let's mix this up. We'll break the rules. And now it's like a somewhat factual account of a sort of superhero grandmother that,
Oh, cool.
that teaches someone how to play the guitar.
Nice. All right, we're going to come right back in just a moment or two with Colin Fowlie here on There's Always a Song. All right, welcome back to There's Always a Song. My name is Brent Buchanan, and thank you for tuning in. We have an amazing song for you tonight by Colin Fowlie. The song is called Song in Every Moment. Have a listen.
One day I walked into my Grammy's kitchen. The smell of heaven almost knocked me down. Cooling on the table were 2 fresh apple pies and a loaf of brown bread. I was bouncing off the walls up to the ceiling. I was feeling oh so proud. And she lit up as I finger-picked and sang her favorite number from a tattered yellow songbook that I'd found. Then to my surprise, she took a turn with my guitar, and I dare say that's the best it's ever sounded. She sang songs about love, songs about her Savior, songs about the places that she wished that she could see. She said, if you listen closely, there's a song in every moment. So don't cry when I'm dead and gone, but don't stop singing them to me. I had about 1,000 questions in that moment. I'd never seen her play before, but man, she made it ring. She picked like Mother Maybell, and she sang just like an angel spread its wings. And then she pulled a dusty bottle from the shelf, and stories started pouring out about some fascinating things. Then we sang songs about better days, songs about heroes, songs about a magic dragon and a yellow submarine. She said, if you listen closely, there's a song in every moment. So don't cry when I'm dead and gone, but don't stop singing them to me. In the days before her weary hands placed the torch in mine, I'd just sit there in that kitchen and hang on every sound as she shared her favorite memories with me, one song at a time. Not a single word or chord was written down. I sing songs about just getting by, songs about my family, songs about the man I was and the man I hope to be. And if you listen closely, there's a song in every moment. So don't cry when I'm dead and gone. Don't cry when I'm dead and gone, but don't stop singing. Don't cry when I'm dead and gone. And don't stop singing songs to me.
All right, that was Colin Fowlie. I told you, awesome song, song in every moment. Colin Fowlie, thank you, Colin, for being part of the show. If you would like to be on There's Always a Song, get a hold of me on Facebook. Would love to have you in the studio here in Fredericton. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back soon with another new episode.